They called it the Red Death, a plague so vicious, so fast that the human body could barely understand it before it was gone. It started with a fever, then blood. The pores would open like wounds. The victim's skin would stain deep crimson until the face itself became a mask of blood. No cure, no mercy, no time. From the first cry to the last breath, half an hour. Entire cities rotted in silence. The streets were graveyards. But one man, Prince Prospero, believed death could be cheated. He built his walls high, sealed them with iron, and invited only the powerful, the rich, the beautiful, 1,000 souls who would feast and laugh while the rest of the world burned. He thought he had escaped death. But death doesn't knock. It waits. And when it enters, it wears a mask. The Red Death had consumed everything. Villages vanished overnight, leaving only empty beds and blood-stained doorways. The smell of decay drifted on the wind. But within the hills, hidden behind black iron gates, stood Prospero's fortress, a massive stone abbey that looked more like a tomb than a palace. Its walls were thick, its windows sealed with colored glass, its corridors endless, winding like veins through the body of something long dead. Only celebration. The prince had filled his sanctuary with every distraction known to pleasure. Music that never stopped. Feasts that never ended. Jesters, dancers, fountains of wine that bled crimson under torchlight. He declared that beyond these walls, there was only madness. Here, only life. And his followers believed him. Because they had to. He had promised them safety, but safety has a price. The gates had been sealed from the inside, welded shut. The smell of burning metal still clung to the walls, a reminder that no one would ever leave again. Not alive. Months passed. The world outside screamed, but they couldn't hear it anymore. All that remained was the endless echo of laughter and the music of those who refused to die. Then came the masquerade. Prospero wanted to prove that even time itself could not touch him. He ordered 7 grand halls to be prepared, each one colored to represent a stage of life. The first, draped in blue, glowed like the morning sky. The second, deep purple, shimmered with mystery and shadow. The third, green, was lush with ivy and emerald drapery, alive with dancers. The fourth, orange, blazed with warm firelight, the air rich with the scent of burning spices. The fifth, white, was pure as bone, cold, dazzling, merciless. The sixth, violet, trembled with a strange light as though alive. And then, the seventh, the black chamber, the room everyone feared. The walls were covered in heavy black velvet from ceiling to floor, the carpet thick and silent underfoot. But the windows were red, a deep, bleeding red that poured a feverish glow through the room. At the far end stood a great ebony clock. Its pendulum swung slow, steady, patient, and every hour its bell would toll, a deep, metallic chime that rolled through all 7 halls like thunder from a tomb. Each time it rang, the music stopped. The laughter froze. The dancers stared at one another, breath held, until the sound faded away. Then, with nervous laughter, they would begin again, louder, wilder, as if mocking the very fear that lived in their bones. The night of the masquerade was chaos and splendor. Masks of beasts and saints moved together like phantoms. The air shimmered with perfume, the floor slick with spilled wine. Every face was hidden, every sin forgiven. And in the center of it all stood Prince Prospero, tall, commanding, his mask golden, his robe crimson. He moved through the crowd with the arrogance of a god. Outside, the plague had long since swallowed the last of his kingdom. Inside, he raised his glass and toasted immortality. But immortality has a way of listening. When the clock struck 12, the laughter stopped before the chime even began. The room seemed to tilt, the air too thick to breathe. The sound of the bell rolled through every hall, each note deeper than the one before, until the final toll faded into a silence so complete it felt alive. Then, someone gasped. At the far end of the blue hall, a new figure had appeared. No one had seen him enter. No one recognized his mask. He was tall and thin, his body wrapped in a dark shroud that dragged across the floor. His mask was pale, almost the color of bone, but across it ran streaks of red, as if the mask itself had been painted with blood. A whisper spread through the crowd. Some laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke, a costume too bold, but others felt it. The shift in the air, the cold, the silence that followed him like a shadow. Even Prospero felt it, though his pride burned too bright to admit it. The prince's laughter broke the tension like glass. "Who dares mock us with this filth?" he shouted. "Seize him, tear off that mask, and hang him from the battlements." But no one moved. The figure only stood there, staring at the prince. Then it began to walk, slowly, deliberately, through each colored hall. From blue to purple, from green to orange, from white to violet. And with every step, the torches dimmed, and the air grew colder. The prince's fury turned to trembling rage. He snatched a dagger from his belt and pursued the stranger through the rooms, his footsteps echoing behind the soundless figure. When they reached the black chamber, the figure stopped. It turned, and for the first time the mask faced the prince directly. There was no sound, no music, no breathing, not even the ticking of the clock. The prince raised his dagger, but before the blade could fall, his body stiffened. The dagger slipped from his hand, clattering against the floor. He fell without a word, dead before he hit the carpet. The guests rushed forward in horror. They surrounded the figure, desperate, shaking, crying out in disbelief. "Unmask him," someone screamed. But when they did, they found nothing. No face, no flesh, only darkness, a hollow space where something human should have been. A slow chill spread through the halls. One by one, the revelers began to cough, to bleed, to fall. The Red Death had come at last, and as the final heartbeats faded, the great ebony clock gave one last sound, a long, hollow chime. Before it too went silent forever. The torches died. The velvet drapes swallowed the light, and all that remained was the echo of laughter that was no longer laughter, but the memory of it. The Red Death had entered like a whisper and stayed like a shadow. And darkness and decay ruled the world forevermore. They thought the walls would keep it out. They thought gold could buy them time. But death doesn't knock. It doesn't wait. It wears the faces of those you trust, and it dances when the clock strikes midnight. So when the next chime sounds in the dark, ask yourself, is it time, or is it already too late? Thank you so much for journeying into the darkness with me today. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.